Hello and good morning, everyone. My name is Jian, and today I'll be presenting the accumulation of this semester's work, the conduit. So let's start with assignment 1. For assignment 1, let me introduce to you the telemart concept, which is a combination between an online delivery service and an existing traditional wet market. So the reason why the telemart concept was conceived is because in a post-COVID era, online shopping is now more prevalent than ever. So, for example, Alibaba Group and Amazon are doubling their stock prices ever since March of this year, and this leaves wet market in a highly vulnerable position where the only way for them to keep thriving as a business is if they somehow find a way to translate onto the online service. So this is where the telemart comes in. So the traditional wet market still operates as usual on the ground floor, but on the first floor, we have tagged on a dedicated administration office, which receives orders through telephone and online from customers, and those orders are vetted through the traditional wet market from a dedicated device. The orders are packaged and processed and sent to the delivery area where they are quality checked before being sent to customers. Now, customers who receive these orders by delivery can completely avoid crowds but are unable to choose their goods. So therefore, this system functions based on the trust between retail and consumer, and therefore the quality of the product based on trust is of utmost importance, which are things that I highly prioritize during the design process of the conduit. So let's go to the conduit. And let's start with Rekascape Cyberjaya. So Rekascape Cyberjaya has a relatively high temperature, and the original design is relatively geometric, made of mostly steel, and speed of construction is, a priority. And I chose Zone C because I needed the parking area to facilitate my delivery service. So let's talk about design development for a bit. So I chose trust, connectivity, and versatility as my 3 design priorities. And therefore we have the fluid shapes, and therefore the open plans, relatively few walls, and relatively few doors. So let's talk about spatial programming. We have the fruits and vegetables section, the quality control office here, connected directly to the parking area. And because a lot of technology is used here, because all the orders are vetted through a dedicated device, we need a directory and a tech support counter here. And connecting all of it is a marché restaurant. And so the marché restaurant only uses ingredients sold at the stalls on the conduit. And so customers come to the conduit, they buy food at the marché restaurant, and from there, they start building the trust and reliability based on the goods sold, and therefore build confidence and start using the online delivery service. So this is the ground floor. On the first floor, we have the spice stalls, the meat stalls, and the administration office, the place where the orders are received via phone calls or website. And I think this is a good chance to talk about the hyperbolic paraboloid roof. Now, you see, I took the huge liberty to directly change the roof, and the reason for that is because I needed a design that reflects the values that are trying to be promoted by the conduit. And because the original design of the roof is so relatively geometric and rigid and split up into multiple sections, I thought it didn't really reflect what I was trying to do with the conduit. So I chose a hyperbolic paraboloid structure, which is basically a potato chip shape. And there's a reason why potato chips use this structure is because it's a doubly ruled surface. And every point found on this plane is connected with 2 different lines rotated at different angles. And so what that means is that despite this being a curved structure, it can be constructed using only straight lines, meaning engineering is quite feasible. And also a main advantage of using this type of curved structure is that it has a high structural integrity despite it being relatively thin. So for 50 centimeters worth concrete shell reinforced with rebar with iron trusses running crisscross along the underside should support this structure. And as you can see, the roof runs along the entire structure. It's one solid piece. So this is my section. This here is the main market area. This is the administration office. And this here is the quality control and delivery service. This is my exploded axonal, where you can see how everything fits together. As you can see, there are relatively few walls, relatively few doors. You can easily walk between spaces, and yeah. This is the meat stalls on the first floor. As you can see here, there are air ventilation. There's air ventilation here to prevent odor. And here's the spice stall. And also on the roof of the spice stall, it also doubles as a hydroponic garden. So all of the spices sold in the spice stall are grown on the roof here. And that's why there's a skylight. So this is the vegetable stalls and the marché restaurant on the ground floor. So lastly, let's talk about the modular stall. So for the modular stall, I emphasize versatility. So every component of the modular stall can be taken apart and put back in without changing the main stall. So for example, if you damage the main wall panel, you can take it away and replace it with a new one without having to take away the entire stall. So the weakness of this stall is that it doesn't have any wheels. So to counteract that, there are grooves on the side to make hand carrying all of the components very easy. And because of the high versatility, there are many different configurations. For example, here, this is the configuration that I use for the vegetable and fruit stalls, which is 2 stalls, sandwiching and advertising panel. And this here is the configuration that I use for the meat stalls, which is basically 4 stalls with a custom countertop and a custom roof. So what I'm trying to say here is that due to this high level of versatility, you can easily handmade your own tabletops and countertops to arrange this modular stall in any way or any configuration that you like, which I think is the biggest strength of this type of modular stall. And so that's it for my physical presentation. I will now take you all on a walkthrough of the interior of the conduit. Enjoy the video. Imagine a place where a market is more than a market. Where connectivity, trust, and versatility are design priorities. And to connect more than just spaces. The conduit is a combination of a wet market, which operates normally on the ground and first floors, and a dedicated delivery service, which office is on the first floor. Customers are allowed to shop at the wet market as usual, with a large variety of stalls, such as the vegetable stalls, spice stalls, and meat stalls. All stalls are connected by a marché restaurant that uses ingredients only sold in the wet market. Once customers start to trust the conduit's products, they can start to book their orders via phone or app. The orders are received by the Delivery Administration Office before being vetted to stall owners via local area network. The orders are packaged before being sent for quality checking. And finally, ship to customers at a pickup address.